let's be real, you're watching this waiting for the swimsuit gacha, so... Hello and welcome to Parasol's Rewind, the show that's not dead, where I 200 older characters, and test out different builds on them so you won't have to do it. And if you like it, 200 your own character. Now I know I'm several weeks late and today is kind of the last day to buy him, but I'm going to be reviewing Shunsui Kyoraku, the Parasol version. He was one of the very first seasonal characters I ever got, as well as one of the very first characters whose boost move actually did damage. Now like always, I started with the normal attack damage build, and while Shunsui does have a strong attack damage link, his attack is actually the higher stat. So I was expecting good things from this build, and I was not left disappointed. After all, Shunsui's strong attack 2 is a boost move and he has enhancer, meaning it lasts a total of 20 seconds, which increases his attack stat by 33% and allows him to do a lot of damage. Not only that, but Shunsui also has a vortex move, which comes in handy quite a bit when you have a normal attack this good, as it traps enemies in a vortex they can't escape and you're able to deal damage that way. So I'm definitely gonna say this is a viable build. Now the next one I tried was a strong attack damage build. Honestly, I wasn't expecting much from this build. I kinda wanted to skip it altogether and do something else. But Shunsui does have a strong attack damage link, so I figured I owed it to him to at least try this build out. To my surprise, I actually liked it. At first I was thinking that his boost move and his vortex move wouldn't be that great because boost moves don't really have that good of a range, and vortexes historically don't do that much damage. And in that regard, I was correct, though they did do a bit more damage than I thought. The reason this build actually works out is because you do damage from both ends. Though your strong attacks may not be too powerful, they are strong enough to take out some opponents, and even his strong attack 3, which is the vortex move, does a good job in trapping enemies, letting you finish them off with your normal attack, which actually does a pretty decent amount of damage thanks to his high attack and the boost move that may or may not be active. Because of this, I am gonna say this build is viable, however you shouldn't take it to anything harder than a 5-star raid. While it does work in general for 5-star raids and regular events, it may not work out very well in extreme co-op. Finally, I decided to do the strong attack recharge build, but because the damage wasn't too crazy in the last build, I decided to mix things up and make a strong attack recharge build with a high attack instead of a high SP. This specific build doesn't really work for most characters, but because Shunsui has a boost move and a vortex move, and his attack is higher than his SP, I thought that maybe something would come out of this. And boy was I right. This was actually my favorite build out of the three, and while your boosted normal attack didn't do as much damage as it did with the normal attack damage build, it still did a heavy amount. Not to mention that none of the strong attacks go to waste, as a strong attack 1 can be used to knock enemies over, so you can then proceed to take them out with your normal attack. His strong attack 2 is the boost move, that under this build may not be infinite, but you really only have to wait 5 seconds for it to come back, and it boosts your attack, defense, and focus by 33%, which you can then abuse to deal more damage and take less damage for most of the round. And his strong attack 3 is a vortex move, which I really don't have to explain why it's such a good thing that it comes back so quickly. His strong attacks all complement his normal attack, and as a bonus, they actually knock some enemies out, even though this character was chappied. Probably thanks to the fact that he has an Arankar killer and a strong attack damage link. If you have this character, I strongly recommend checking this build out, and I'm sure it'd even be better if you didn't chappy him. In the end, this Shunsui is still pretty good, however I have to give him a B. Sure, all of his builds are still usable, but they really won't be that effective in extreme co-op or the multiplayer versions of inheritance zones or droplet zones. But I'd say you could still take him in the single player versions of them and in co-op 5-star raids. But anything harder than that, you may want to avoid with this character. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what other characters you want to see in a rewind.